Hello everyone, I'm Marika Di Rosa, ADS Competitiveness Operations Manager, and I'm here today with Olaide Olaoye, Lead Practitioner for BusEx, ManEx and RelEx with the SC21 program, and part of the program from 2007, right, Olaide? So talk a little bit about yourself.
Good afternoon, Marika. It's a real pleasure to be with you this afternoon. My name is Olaide Olaoye, and as Marika said, been with SC21 literally from around the outset in 2007, and I have been with the program, sort of all through and continuing. My background is that, I started life as a mechanical engineer before I went to do research work in, the manufacturing and manufacturing management. I have been in consulting in aerospace and defense in the past, 38 years. And over that period, I have, been in direct operational roles across the supply chain, and I have since then moved into, consultancy to impart some of the knowledge that I have gained over the years. For a lot of period, I worked, for Thales Industries, and I've been in Thales for until about 2017. I have then moved into a consultancy since then, but always supporting SC21. And over that period, I have worked with over 100 companies, and I will report that all very successful. Thank you.
And also you have been chair of and you are actually chair of the Practitioner and Provider Special Interest Group, right? So, of course, we recognize there have been several changes of the system of what we now call practitioners and providers. So if you could explain a little bit more what are those changes? So how this system of support basically evolved with the program?
I'm glad you've asked that question because it's often the questions that, where companies ask us. And it's quite a progression because when SC21 started, the idea was to allow a number of tools to be deployed by different companies that are within the aerospace and defense supply chain. We recognized at that time that we needed to have different types of support. So we created, in essence, two major roles and a number of sub roles within there. So we had two key roles. One is, training partner role and strategic, partner role. And the key difference at that time is given that the tools underpin continuous improvement, you could either just get trained in the use of the tool, or you could get guidance both in the training and the deployment and implementation of those tools. And the distinction at the beginning is strategic partners can support and help you throughout your improvement journey, which is never ending. But for specific training, we have training partners who can deliver, that kind of support for your company. Moving forward, we then have within the, both strategic partner and training partner, we have three different levels of capability of people that can support you. It starts with a practitioner who we believe is able to deliver the training that is required. That then takes us to the next level where we have a lead practitioner who is not only able to deliver the training, but can assist with bringing on lead practitioners and help create more people that can provide support. And at the apex of the levels is the master practitioner, who is not only able to deliver, the training, qualify other practitioners, but help with the structure of the training program itself.
Exactly, yes.
That's gone on
And
for...
also to train basically new practitioner and lead practitioners basically. So it's kind of give also the stamp to what are our expertise, so our professionals. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thanks for your help on that specific special interest group, but also in general with the program, really, because your help has been really valuable over the years. So thank you. Let's also ask something about the tool that is probably the first of all, the newest of the three all, but also, of course, the one that is actually mandatory only for silver and gold companies, which is the RelEx tool. We would like to increase awareness of this specific tool because people are generally more aware of the ManEx and the BusEx tool, but because they are kind of stepping up from bronze to silver and to gold, basically, they have less awareness of the RelEx tool. So how would you explain it in a simple way, and which is the scope of that tool and the adoption of the tool? What does it require for each employee in the company, basically, right? So
again, that's a very interesting question, because again, we come across this with every deployment in companies. And let me take you back to the three tool sets. Firstly, when we talk about, manufacturing excellence tool, immediately organizations can relate to, if this is about, driving lean in my business, then I've got to look at my production manager, to address that. And we said, okay, you can broaden it, but they understand that. When we talk about business excellence tool, which is about how you set the vision for your company and how you drive that vision, they immediately can relate to, this is important for the management team to help work with the rest of the staff to drive that forward. Then we come to the third tool, the relationship excellence. Here, people typically start by thinking relationship that is important. Oh, I must address this with my customers. We invite them to step back from that and take a broader view of relationship. And we typically say to companies, you have to think about relationship, both external relationship and internal relationship. When we talk about external relationship, you have relationship with different groups, and it's important to recognize those different groups. You have your customers, you have your suppliers, but you also have third-party relationship. And these three groups all affect and influence the way in which you can be successful in driving your business. And the message we give is, in order to address this relationship, it touches everyone in your organization. So you have people who relate with your customers. It's important that they can embrace the tool. You have people who relate to your suppliers. It's important that they embrace the tool. But most importantly, the thing that most people forget is the internal one, where we said, look, in the same way that you're talking about external, you have different departments in your business. Think about the way in which each person provide support for the other. And they could actually see themselves as customers and suppliers, because engineering will provide the bill of material and routing. The shop floor will use that to make the product. Suddenly, you've got a customer and a supplier. Therefore, RelEx is very far-reaching, but in order for companies to deploy it successfully and understand it, they have to break it down into the different types of relationship, and that every single person in the company is affected. The way in which they perform their role, this tool will be helpful to them. And a lot of our successful SC21 companies are the ones who have embraced that tool in the way that delivers for customer relationship, supplier relationship, and internal relationship.
And actually, this is food for thoughts, not only for our audience, but I think also for me specifically. Yeah, it's definitely an insightful point of view, and I will make it mine from now on. Thank you, Olaide, for this.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about maybe which would you say is the most successful case study that with your guidance achieved basically an SC21 award? Do you have a case study that is particularly successful? Well, you have loads actually.
I have a number of case studies. But I'll single a couple. I'll point out two particularly, and I will speak about one especially. There is a global company, ITT Canon, and I mention them because when we started SC21, it was seen as a UK initiative, but ITT Canon embraced it as a global initiative and not only deployed it in the UK, but deployed it in all their businesses across the world. And I'm really pleased to say they were one of the first, companies to achieve gold. But whilst you might think I'll talk about the gold supplier, one which I really want to talk about is a company that started as an SME in 2003 and took SC21 as something which they needed to underpin their ambition to grow their business. IntelliConnect Europe. When IntelliConnect Europe joined SC21, they were a small outfit with a turnover of under £1 million. But the managing director from the outset saw the power of SC21 and requested support from us as what we call a self-starter. In other words, nobody recommended SC21 to him as a company, but he saw the value and the potential and wanted it for his business.
That's amazing. And actually, IntelliConnect is one of our recent case studies. So I don't know if you had the chance to come across the social media with basically this post. There are Marika interviews where I present some award winners, but now I'm extending it to providers, practitioners, but also is going to be directed to OEMs as well. So definitely is going to be a format that I'm working on to promote all the different stakeholders involved into our program. So IntelliConnect has been one of the most successful case studies we had, and they've been promoted on the blog, but also on LinkedIn and Twitter. So
Yes.
really
Excellent.
good.
But I want to point out a
their
couple of
results.
things. I want to point out a couple of things why they stand out for me.
Yeah.
Not only their success, but some of the key ingredients of that success. And this is a message to all other companies out there. One of the things that really helped IntelliConnect is when they embraced SC21, within their company, they identified in the different departments SC21 champions, which are senior managers who are going to help adopt the specific tools and help the rest of their business understand and implement the tools to its fullest. This enabled them to have 3 champions for each of the tools, which really help drive the excellence in the way in which they use the tools. Therefore, it is not a surprise when IntelliConnect in under 3 years moved from under 1 million turnover to over 7 million.
Wow, impressive, really.
And moved to a position where quality escape was something rare for the business. On-time delivery became the norm.
Yes, and that's exactly the aim of the quality and delivery performance, no? So you need to keep it high at the same on the same target for months and months. So we are talking about 36 months of continuous performance at the same target. So
And
even if
finally,
that's a rolling figure, of course, but
yes, yeah.
interesting, right? Yeah.
And just one final point before we move on,
Sure.
One of the things is that when IntelliConnect then when the owner MD decide to sell the business, SC21 tools fully deployed meant that it raised the confidence of the people who came in to buy the business. So much so that the bigger company that has now support IntelliConnect because IntelliConnect is now part of the Trexon group, are being encouraged and they are warming up to embracing SC21, not just for IntelliConnect, but for the bigger group. That is the power of SC21.
Fantastic. And so to wrap this up now, we are always very open to feedback. So I would like to ask you, which do you think are the opportunities for improvement for the SC21 program? So
Again,
really
Marika, thank you. I have to commend the old SC21 program office, which, if I can say this, that you haven't simply say, do as I say with continuous improvement. You as a team are saying, do as I do, because you are driving continuous improvement yourselves. And what I find particularly helpful is today we can talk about the improvements that individual companies have achieved. We can talk about that very well. It's documented. The performance submission allows us to do that. What I would suggest as an improvement opportunity is something at a higher level. So if I regard individual company improvement as a micro performance tracking, then I would like to see a macro performance tracking. And what I mean by macro tracking is performance as an industry, performance as a sector.
Yeah, so I'm very, very well aware that basically some data analysis is required to show what have been the results of the program at the macro level, as you are saying. So basically, definitely we have the data because from when we started, basically, at least when I started, we had a system of collection of data that was kind of obsolete because we were receiving submissions all through PowerPoints, but now basically we are able to gather the data from the submission, and it's definitely something that I can work on with my new role, definitely. So what I will try to do is to demonstrate also at a macro level what is the benefit basically of being on the program for the sector, for industry, and so that we can show it also to the government, the MPs, and other stakeholders. What are these results, right?
Yes. And then we can begin to be a true support for UK PLC. And as you know, we still have a productivity challenge. So it's important to show not only what we've achieved so far, but how much more we can go to help government deliver their productivity objective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Olaide. It has been, as always, we speak a lot, really, but as always, has been a pleasure to meet you and this time even interview you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been real pleasure.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you,
Bye.
and bye-bye for now.